Well, that went really quick. 1 minute I was in community pharmacy, then before you know it, I've done 6 months in primary care pharmacy. So I guess the big question that everyone is asking and that everyone wants to know is, what is it like? Well, it's complicated. Let me explain. Okay, so where do we start? Let's begin with the upfront conclusion. Have I made the right move? Well, it's complicated, but I would say yes, I think I have made the right move, but there are some caveats to be aware of, so we can talk about that. Today I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons of being a primary care pharmacist, and then hopefully after watching you can decide for yourself whether this is something that you yourself might be interested in. I shall begin by talking about I'd say the negative points of the job. If we talk about them first, then we can go on about the positive aspects of the job, and then I can come to a conclusion about it. How does that sound? All right? First of all, don't expect quick progress from switching from community pharmacy to primary care pharmacy. This is a marathon, not a sprint. When you first start, you will learn a hell of a lot, and you will learn very quickly. You'll learn all about the software and how surgeries work and the workflows and things like that. But then as time goes on, the learning will slow down a bit and it becomes a bit more of a tough slog. You'll make small incremental improvements day by day, but it will be slow, so that's just something to be aware of. You see, the issue is we are so used to being on top of everything in community pharmacy and knowing it inside out. We're not used to being on the back foot and being in a new environment where we have to learn things from scratch, so that is a huge psychological challenge that you have to face when you make a change like this. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, it took me at least 4 to 5 months before I really felt a little bit more settled into the job. I think it's one of these things where switching to PCN Pharmacy, the benefits aren't immediately obvious. It's only when you look back in hindsight that you'll think, actually, you know what, I did make the right move. It's a little bit like going to uni. I mean, I wasn't a massive fan of university, but looking back in hindsight, it was the right thing to do, and I think this is a similar sort of thing where it doesn't always feel like you've made the right move on the day-to-day basis. A lot of pharmacists, I'm sure, will get a lot of professional fulfillment out of working in primary care, such as making high-level clinical decisions, writing prescriptions, signing prescriptions like what I'm doing at the moment, but you will pay a high price for that, I have to be honest, and one of those prices is isolation, because you will most likely be in a room by yourself, sitting in front of a computer with not much banter, not much social contact, so that is something you must be aware of. And some people, I think it's even worse because they have to work from home. There's not even any room within the surgery for them to work in, so they're even more detached from the sort of primary care team. I've spoken to quite a lot of pharmacists who've also made the move, and again, I don't want to sound too negative, but the general consensus is that primary care pharmacy, especially at the beginning, is either difficult or very difficult. You know, I'm just going to have to tell you straight, it is what it is. It is a big challenge, but you just have to be aware of what you're getting yourself into. So if you're one of these people that need social contact and you thrive on customer interaction and things like that, then it might not be the right role for you. You may find the isolation part of it quite difficult to deal with. Younger pharmacists thinking about going into primary care pharmacy, my advice is do not go into primary care pharmacy. Not yet anyway, because I think you need to do your time in community pharmacy. You need to get your experience. You need to see the lay of the land. And only then, once you've got a good few years of experience, then yeah, maybe go into primary care pharmacy. But at the beginning, I would not recommend it. And to be honest with you, if you're a younger pharmacist and you get a couple of years experience and you're thinking about making the move, to be honest with you, part of me would be tempted to skip primary care pharmacy altogether and just go on and retrain as a doctor, because we're all getting to the stage where we're all becoming some sort of derivative of a doctor, so you may as well go and become a doctor, because that's where the real massive need in society is. Another word of caution to watch out for is that a lot of these jobs obviously are advertised as primary care network pharmacy jobs, but you may well find that when you actually go and do that job, you're not actually working as a PCN pharmacist. You may well find that you're just being used as a practice pharmacist, which I'm not saying it's end of the world, but for example, I know people that have gone to work as a PCN pharmacist. The job has been advertised as a PCN pharmacist, but they're doing zero primary care network stuff. They're not doing any of the IIF. They're not doing any of the DES work. They're just basically being used as a general surgery dog's body, where they're taking telephone prescription orders, they're booking people in for appointments. So just a word of caution, just because these jobs are advertised as PCN pharmacy jobs, you aren't always guaranteed to be working as a strict PCN pharmacist. The last sort of point that I want to touch on in this section is what I like to call the working from home myth. Now, I do work from home, but it's only one day a week, and that is more than enough for me, because I am not a massive fan whatsoever of working from home. I do not believe in it whatsoever. Now, don't get me wrong, some surgeries haven't got the actual room space for a pharmacist to go and work in there, but I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to go and work in the surgery, you do so. If you want to work from home, maybe do it one day a week like me, but apart from that, I highly recommend you go into the surgery, because you get to meet people face to face, you build up more relationships. It's just better all round for the working of the primary care network. It's just, you cannot beat being there in person. In my opinion, being at home is pretty much pointless. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people who they're more than happy to work from home, but for me it is suboptimal. You know, I would only work at home if I had no choice, if the surgery didn't have any space, but luckily my surgeries, they do have the space. You know, I don't care which room I'm put in, as long as I'm put in a room for me to do my work, because I think it's very important to show your face and to be there and to be part of the team. There's no other way. Okay, so that's enough of the negative points. Let's finally move on to some of the better points of this job. No distractions. That is such a massive positive point of this job. So yes, you are sat in a room by yourself, sat in front of a laptop, a desktop, whatever, but guess what? You don't have to answer the phone. You don't have to keep serving customers. You don't keep getting dragged from one task to another. You can have the opportunity to just solely focus on the job at hand, and that, to be honest, is absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. You know, just picture it. You sat there, all nice and cozy, wherever you may be, and you can just crack on and get on with the job. That is such an amazing thing to be able to do. Another amazing part of the job is that you will get involved in projects and initiatives that you just would not see the light of day in community pharmacy. So for example, in the surgeries that I work in, I'm working on some amazing stuff. I'm working on dependence forming medications like your opioids, your gabapentins, your zopiclones, where we're de-prescribing these items, but we're also reducing the initiation of these items within primary care. So it's just fantastic. Another thing I'm working on is the prescribing of SGLT2I drugs like empagliflozin and dapagliflozin for type 2 diabetics, for whom they're indicated. Again, it's an amazing project. You just will not be doing anything like this in community pharmacy. There are other things that you'll be involved with, structured medication reviews where you can really make a big change to people's lives. I mean, I love going in, optimizing people's therapy. It's just fantastic. You'll be doing multidisciplinary team meetings, so you're going through nursing home residents, sorting out their medicines. You'll be doing things like anticoagulant drug monitoring, again, a massive thing. I remember when I was in the early days of this job, I was being mentored by another clinical pharmacist who was absolutely fantastic at her job, and still is fantastic at her job. And I quite clearly remember her saying, "You know what, Sam, we're actually doing what we've been trained to do." And I thought, you know what, God, she's right, she's absolutely right. Don't get me wrong, checking baskets, it's easy money. You're not really using your brain, but to be honest with you, is that really the best use of a pharmacist's skills? You know, it's like, personally speaking, for me, I think the days of pharmacists getting paid to check baskets, I don't think that's going to last. I think everything's going to go hub and spoke, because I think the government in the future, I think they're going to be quite reluctant to pay for pharmacists just to stand there checking baskets all day. I might be wrong, but let's see. Another point that I want to talk about, another positive should I say, is, and it's going to sound cheesy, but I feel doing this job fulfills a moral duty, in my opinion. So let me try and explain this. So a person can get their drugs from anywhere these days. You can go to your big national chains, you can go to your independents, whatever. You can even get it from pharmacy to you. So a patient getting their prescription via the supply route, that's not a massive deal. Anyone can do that. But who's going to be there behind the scenes checking the renal function, checking the liver function? Who's going to be there in the front line actually interpreting the bloods, for example? That's where we come in. We have to be there. We have to be there to help, to do the real work behind the scenes, the real sort of interpretation of the results and all the more technical aspects of medicines. The area that I work in, for example, it's so deprived, it's unbelievable. I feel like these people in these deprived areas, they need me, they need us, they need these primary care pharmacists. It's the inverse care law. A big, huge positive of primary care pharmacists is that the patients love it. I could easily be spending half an hour talking to a patient in a structured medication review. They love this new NHS firepower. There's no way they're going to get this from their GPs. The fact that someone takes the time to go and phone a patient and talk to them about the medicines, to talk to them about what's happening in their life. Oh, you've got no idea how valuable that is, and how much patients appreciate this, and how much it makes a difference to the surgery. Huge difference. Anyone who says primary care pharmacists don't make a difference, they haven't got a clue, because we are making a difference, a huge difference. Fresh pairs of eyes. So what do I mean by that? We have a huge advantage going in as primary care pharmacists, because guess what? We're quite new to it all. We're not jaded like the rest of the primary care staff. I know that sounds cynical, but I'm sorry, it's true. We all read about GP burnout, staff burnout in primary care. That doesn't apply to us, not yet anyway, because we're so new into it. So we're bringing a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy into primary care arenas. Work-life balance, let's talk about that. Okay, so one of the main reasons or the main advantages of going into primary care pharmacy is simple. The work-life balance is far better than working in community pharmacy. So in my old job, my official hours was 45 hours a week, but unofficially I was doing closer to 50 hours. This new job, 37 and a half. Massive difference. So I get home, I can go for a walk, I can go to the gym. I don't feel like I'm cramming as much things into my life. So again, another huge positive. Let's wrap all of this up then. Let's have some final thoughts. So when we talk about changing careers, changing sectors, it's very important to realize that there are no solutions here, no solutions. There's only trade-offs. You must remember that everything has its price. My advice, if you really want my advice, is think very carefully about what you want. If you're in a community pharmacy and you're quite happy, you're quite settled and you don't really want to push yourself, just stay in community pharmacy. Even with hub and spoke there's still going to be a lot of roles for community pharmacists on the high street or the villages, wherever it is you may be working. So I would just stay. That's my advice. On the other hand though, if you want to be more at the cutting edge of things and you want to try something new, you want to push yourself, then primary care pharmacy is absolutely the place for you. It's tough, don't get me wrong. You have to do your 18 months training with the primary care pathway, but you know, like we were saying before, everything has its price. Listen, the NHS is under pressure, we get it. So whether you're in community or in primary care, we're all going to be working out of our comfort zones because that's the only way we're going to be able to get things done. So it's not going to be easy in community pharmacy, it's not going to be easy in primary care. You have to pick which one is it that you prefer. I mean, for me personally, because I really need social contact, I do a regular Saturday shift in a community pharmacy because I love the communication and the banter with the customers. If you're someone who, like I say, needs that social contact, finds it difficult to work by themselves, you may well find it difficult going into primary care. I think in that case, stay in community. Simple. I really hope you found this video useful. I hope you managed to get some things out of it. I've tried to be as honest as I can. I find a lot of pharmacists, they tend to sugarcoat things. You know, they only tell you the good side, they don't tell you the bad side, but what's the point of that? We need to be honest with each other, come on. So it took me quite a while to do this video. I was gathering my thoughts across quite a few months. So like I say, I hope you found some value in it. You can find me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, give me a shout. I really hope you liked it. Obviously, it goes without saying that I'm going to do a 1 year later video. How can I not do a 1 year later video? Come on. So anyway, I think that's enough now. The video's gone on long enough. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next time. See ya.